Hawks fans, we've been through a lot together. I don't think we've ever seen anything quite like this. To beat the Lakers in Atlanta by 20.
Unbelievable. Big one for us. You know, we dropped one yesterday, and this one's going to be a tough one, but we came in and fought, and we got it done on the defensive end. So credit to the guys stepping up.
You know, it's good to, protect the home court, and that's what we need to get started on the road.
Yeah, we just got to continue the momentum, bring the same mentality every game. It's going to be some tough games, but, we're up for the fight.
Welcome in, Hawks fans. Your boy Bryce Lewis back at it again for another Believe in Hawks episode. The Atlanta Hawks defeat the Los Angeles Lakers tonight, 122-102. Hawks controlling the game from start to finish, down 5 of their top 7 players, but that didn't make a difference tonight. Everybody came to play and help the Hawks jump to a very impressive victory, get back to 500, and stay afloat without Trae Young. So we're going to break down that game and obviously talk about the huge performance from Gueye. A lot of discussion sparking after his performance and Newell's performance as well about what could be the future of the Hawks front court. And then on top of that, we'll talk about more about, Trae Young being gone. I kind of want to reference really the Toronto game, but that's more towards the end of the podcast because, that was the day before. So we'll get into that because obviously I didn't do a pod after that game, but, obviously a lot of opinions come out of that. It's kind of funny when you see a win and a loss, how the opinions sway each game. But we're going to go into all that today on the pod. So I appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode. And if you enjoy it, definitely hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment down below about anything we discuss. Always love to hear from you guys. There's been more comments in the comments recently, and I really love that. I love just the dialogue. I love that we can talk basketball, and then you guys, maybe you can see a comment and want to talk more hoops as well. And obviously for my audio listeners, you can always leave a rating on the podcast, hopefully 5 stars, to help the podcast gain more exposure, more people can see the pod, and also just come across it, it's getting good ratings, and they want to play with the keys. So really definitely appreciate you guys for sure for just tuning in and giving me a chance to kind of, just talk basketball, talk Atlanta Hawks with y'all for sure. So, and follow me on Twitter at Risacher2K. So let's go ahead and dive right into the game. So the Hawks tonight, Jalen out, Kristaps out, Trae out, Luke Kennard sick, Keil Alexander-Walker's consecutive game streak snapped. I mean, you had a lot of your top guys out tonight, right? Going against the Lakers. And it's funny because the Lakers also have injuries. I just want to make this clear. Hawks were short. Lakers were too. They don't have LeBron. They don't have Austin Reeves. They had a couple other guys too they didn't have tonight. So it wasn't like they were playing their top guys either all the way through, but they had, in terms of, I guess, total injuries, less than the Hawks. And they also had Luka. So you're thinking, okay, Luka's clearly the best player on the floor in this game. We know how he can take over a game. We know what he did to the Hawks, I think, a year or two ago. So you're like, all right, people probably are thinking Lakers still should win this game, right? The Hawks came out, man, tonight, and just this is why the NBA different things happen every year. I think people don't realize the NBA, bro, you have teams who have a bunch of guys you think shouldn't be playing that can beat an NBA team. On any given night, sometimes some people say you can win a game 9 out of 10, but there's that one you lose. And sometimes that night is the game you lose. And I'm sure Laker fans coming into the game, I've seen a tweet saying, free win tonight, we'll beat the Hawks. They don't have nobody, easy pickings, everything. Lakers fans were talking a lot of smack before the game, thinking this should be easy for us. And then they see how the game plays out, and they're like, what happened? Saying, who is Gueye? Who are these guys? And that just shows that you are not a ball knower. And so, Hawks came out tonight, man, with just energy, defensively, offensively, all led by the man Gueye. And I that's where I want to kind of start this game because the Hawks pretty much controlled this from start to finish, right? Like I said, they pretty much got out on LA, got to a double-digit lead, and was pretty much, for the most part, able to hold it the majority of the game and got up as much as 30 in the game. But Gueye was very important. I believe he scored 7 of the team's first 8 points in the game. I think he had 11-point first quarter. I said this on Twitter. The jump that Gueye has made from last year to this year is night and day. Because sometimes, you have players who you can see slowly progress throughout their careers. Like, you can see growth every year. There's improvements to their game. Mo, we knew defensively last year, like, okay, he can play a little bit defensively. But it was the offense. It was like, can Mo give you something offensively? That's where his struggle was. Because when he would play, he would miss a lot of threes. He wasn't confident with the ball. And so he was hard to play for Quinn because, yes, he's giving me defense, but he hurts us offensively. So it was that fine line of what do I do, This year, he's not hurting you offensively. He has very much progressed in that aspect of his game. I've talked about it. He looks stronger, looks more confident, looks more comfortable. He doesn't look rushed. The game is slowed down for him, and you see that in the way he plays. I mean, he was either when he was the primary defender or even in help defense against Luka, trying to help Dyson Daniels. He was rotations were right. Quinn mentioned that. He said him and I think Okongwu tonight were always in the right space with the rotations. Like Gueye, we kind of seen that he could be this amazing all defensive player type of guy, but that offense coming along has just been big. I mean, 21 tonight, 7 rebounds, 7 assists for Mo Gueye. You don't think of Mo Gueye as a passer either. But one thing that Quinn, especially without Trae, has been trying to emphasize is that everybody's going to have to be a playmaker to make up for the loss of Trae Young. And then Jalen Johnson as well. And 7 assists for him tonight, showing versatility in his game. 8 of 12 from the field, 4 or 5 from 3, a block, 2 steals. I mean, he did it all tonight. And Mo Gueye, just like I said, the growth he's made has just been very impressive. And it's funny. A lot of people are kind of trying to talk about, Kristaps has not been as great as they would like him to be. And so people are like, this is why Mo Gueye should play more, right? And there's justification in that. And I said, one thing about Mo Gueye playing well and Azanul also playing well is that you have depth. Depth is important. I think, some people get with the bigs playing well. We do this as Hawks fans, where I feel like we have players that are behind guys play well and say, well, let's trade this guy. But I said this on Twitter. I said depth is important because if you remember the last couple of years, like just think about this for a minute, Hawks fans. When you thought about this last couple of years, the biggest issue we've had is that once you get past the first 2-3 bigs, we had nobody. And then when we have injuries, we're cooked. Done. Finito. Finished. Front court is butt cheeks. And so this year, we have 5 bigs who all deserve minutes, who all are NBA players. And it's weird for me to see people say we need to trade one. And I'm like, I'd rather have 5 bigs and know that we don't have to rush Jalen back. We don't have to rush KP back. We have fully capable players. I get it. You want the young guys to play. I get it. Trust me, I do. But like, if Newell doesn't play right now, that's not like a bad thing. He'll play with the Skyhawks. Like, he's gonna play. And then when they need him, Quinn knows, oh, we got injury night. All right, you be in the rotation. Like, he pretty much is going to be in the rotation if someone is out. And KP's not going to play back-to-backs. And if you're the Hawks, they probably strategize for that. They're like, okay, well, we know we're not going to KP back-to-backs because of the illness and stuff. So we need to make sure we have depth in the front court to be able to hold on, even if he's hurt or even if he has to sit out a game with injury management or something. And, people are like, just like I said, they are just thinking about all these different things of what we should do. And I'm like, listen, I know KP maybe hasn't been great in the last couple of games. I feel like when he was with Trae Young, I believe KP was averaging like close to 23, 24 points a game. I think since Trae has left, that's gone down. Trae makes the game easier for everybody offensively, so that makes sense. Where they're having to play more. Okay, KP, post someone up and make a play, which he can do, but maybe it's not to the same consistency that you would like. But I just want Hawks fans to remember, like, we've been in moments where we didn't have front court depth, and we have that, and y'all shouldn't be trying to get rid of it. Like, I'm literally seeing people saying trade both Okongwu and KP, and I'm like, brother, you want to go back to having 3 bigs? So we have no bigs again? Like, we're just gonna go back to, like I think I think there's just that y'all want the young guys to play so bad that y'all don't even think about that. Y'all just think, I want them on the floor, and don't realize, well, you can get them on the floor, but if one of them goes down, are right back at square one. So, and like I said, they don't have to really make any major decisions right now, And when it comes to KP, remember, he's on a 1-year deal. Like, he's on an expiring contract. Like, the Hawks are going to see it through with him. They're not going to trade him just because. I've seen some people talk about moving him to the bench, all that. I get it. But, listen, we have yet to see this team at full strength again since the first, 3-4 games of the year. So, again, the Hawks aren't going to take that small sample size and say we're going to blow it up with certain players. And I know y'all, and remember, the team looks much different without Trae Young than they do now when they had Trae Young. So again, you're making judgments about a player when a guy who could help with that ain't there. So it's just been interesting to see that reaction online to it. I think if anything, as a Hawks fan, you should just be like, I'm glad that we have guys who can step up if needed. The biggest thing for Quinn is just realizing, hey, if there's certain matchups that you have and you notice something like, hey, we can trust this guy a little bit more. We can trust Mo. We can trust Newell a little bit more and go with them in these situations. So, I just don't want there to be let's just get rid of guys. Like, it's funny. People were like, it's funny because I've said Okongwu's been one of our most consistent players, I would say, from a stat perspective, especially. And they're like, trade him. And they're like, and I'm just like, again, like, you're not trading a player because he's playing bad. You're trading a player just because you want to see another player. And listen, Mo Gueye playing this well and Newell playing this well will make the Hawks have to make tough decisions in the future. Of course. And that may be this offseason. They may say, you know what, we were going to get Porzingis an extension, but realistically, maybe just if we don't get him for the number we want, we got some guys that we think are fully capable of coming in here and playing. And I think, they've got KP because they wanted something they didn't have, a 7-footer with the offense that he has. Even though Mo Gueye had a great offensive night tonight, I wouldn't say he's an offensive player yet. He's not KP from that perspective, even though KP struggled. I just think we see a player struggle, get him off my team, and it's like, brother, guys are going to struggle. We got to stop overreacting to struggles. Like, y'all did this with Dyson Daniels. Like, guys are going to be up and down sometimes. That happens. Like, y'all do realize, like, you're not going to be great every single game. And there's going to be stretches where you're not great, but you got to fight through it. So, I think overall, like I said, I'm really proud of the young guys stepping up tonight and really playing well. So really good stuff there. If you look at some of the numbers from the game tonight too, Hawks shot 51% from the field. Lakers shot 46%. Hawks shot 41% from three. Lakers shot 40%. Hawks 91% from the free throw line. Only had 11 turnovers. That's a key. The Hawks have been a very high turnover team since Trae's been out. So that has been something that I know Quinn wants to work on. And they did a good job of being able to not turn the ball over tonight, which helped them, stay on top of things. Lakers had 19 turnovers tonight. Hawks also had 37 assists. Low turnovers, high assist rate equals results for the Atlanta Hawks. Obviously Hawks lost the rebounding battle, which is just expected at this point. But they had 6 blocks, 13 steals. I believe Newell had 4 steals tonight. Big, getting in there. So, and then after the game, he said, listen, I watched Dyson Daniels. He said, Dyson Daniels rubbing off on me. So you can't hate that, man. Can't hate that for the young rook. But as you can see, the Hawks, just like I said, from start to finish, pretty much outplayed the Lakers. Pretty much just, at this point, I think our reserves are better than the Lakers' reserves. We saw the debut of Caleb Houston tonight. He played well in the minutes he played. I thought we would have seen a little bit more Jacob Toppin, but pretty much Quinn went to an 8-man rotation. But Houston played well. Krejci gave you 17 tonight. Krejci stepped up. Listen, you could tell when the guys were playing out there tonight, there was definitely okay, we kind of have to put shots up, because sometimes the concern is when you have guys who always play roles or isn't as aggressive offensively, when they have to be, will they be? And Krejci was aggressive tonight, 17 points. I think that's that's a really good game for him. Newell had 17 points as well, tonight. So different guys stepping up in different ways for this team and getting a really good win. Because like I said, a lot of people coming into this game were worried. A lot of people coming into this game were concerned. Hawks, you dropped that game to Toronto, really disappointing loss. You're really just like, man, we should have had that game. Offense did not look good in the second half. You see the issues without Trae Young, and you come into this Laker game, we're going to get cooked. We have all these injuries. We're going to be 4-6, and then we got the West Coast trip coming up, and we're like, oh, God, it could get ugly. And now you come out, beat the Lakers the way you did. You feel better before you go against the Clippers on Tuesday where you head out west. And, Clippers haven't been like the most dominating team either, but obviously a team that people expect to be in the postseason. So, a team you're still going to worry about. And they're coming in there, as of right now in this recording, they're still playing the Suns. So they may be coming in there on the 4-game losing streak, or they may be coming in there, with a win. But, it's a game that, they got to be ready for. They got to be ready to compete. And, so I look right now, they're trailing the Suns. So it looks like they're going to be coming in there on the 4-game losing streak. So they're going to be looking to try to snap their losing streak to us, and so on and so forth. And Kawhi's out for injury management, says. So it sounds like to me we're going to have Kawhi Leonard play us, of course, on Tuesday. But nonetheless, like I said, really good performances from the young guys. Shout out to Gueye, Duel, playing really, really good basketball. You have 5 bigs who can play. It's a good problem to have if you're the Hawks, just having that type of depth on your team. And, like I said, just kind of trying to build those pieces together and try to figure out, okay, how can we best get the most out of everybody on this team so when we're fully healthy, you're trying to make it run. Because while you don't have Trae Young, the biggest thing you're trying to do is just stay around 500. Just stay around 500, get the team healthy, then see what you can do. See if you can start to separate yourself in the standings, move up the standings, become the team that people thought you could become. But now if you're Quinn and that coaching staff, you have much more knowledge of what you have. Because sometimes you want to play your top guys, and so you don't really know what you have under the bench. Now you're getting more of an idea of, okay, this is what we have. So I maybe can trust guys in certain situations because now I know and I've seen them successfully play in these situations. And so these are things that also have to come into it as well. So let's get into player performances tonight. Dyson Daniels tonight. I believe he had a new career high tonight. 13 assists. Dyson Daniels. It's funny. A lot of people have been talking about how Nickeil Alexander-Walker has not been a good point guard, so to say. And they said, why don't we give Dyson more reps? And tonight's performance strengthens that group's argument. 13 assists tonight. Only had 2 turnovers, 10 points, 8 rebounds. I mean, he did a really good job kind of just leading the offense while also guarding Luka Doncic at the other end. Just really did a good job of kind of just keeping everything under control, not turning the ball over, not being reckless with the ball, and just producing. Like I said, almost had a triple-double tonight if he got 2 more rebounds. So Dyson kind of doing it all once again. Had a steal tonight, continuing his streak for steals tonight. He was plus 16 from the floor. I mean, what can I say about Dyson? A lot of people were ready to – and listen, he didn't have a great night against Toronto. He didn't. We can admit that. He didn't have a great night against Toronto. But, sometimes that's how things go. And also with that steal that Dyson had, he also set the Atlanta Hawks franchise record for most consecutive steals in a game with 62. So Dyson just putting himself in the record books in the franchise history. So really good stuff from him. Keaton Wallace tonight, 14 points, 7 assists, 5 of 15 from the field, 4-8 from 3. Obviously was more efficient as a 3-point shooter tonight. He didn't shoot that well from the field, but he actually had the highest plus minus of any starter, 20 plus when he was on the floor. I know people really gave him a lot of crap because people don't view him as a regular rotation guard. I think a lot of people, there's people who come on my videos to say, I think he does a good job for what we ask him to do. I just think people want more. And I've talked about on this podcast how, like, if you get another ball handler and Trae comes back, I mean, how much is that extra guy going to do? I feel like we're going to end up hating him because he's not going to be doing a lot in his 10 minutes of play. And we're going to be like, oh my God, he sucks. Da, 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 da. And it's just like, bro, we tried to tell y'all ahead of time. But, he had a good game tonight, man, in the minutes he played. Like I said, we already talked about Mo Gueye, 21, 7-7 tonight. Kayeka Kongu was 12, 8, and 4, 6 of 14 from the field. Didn't hit any threes tonight, but had 2 blocks tonight. Had 3 steals, so he was active on the defensive end. And actually, I lied. I said Keaton Wallace had the highest plus minus. It's actually Onyeka Okongwu had the highest plus minus with 22. It's funny. I saw people literally being like, Onyeka is so buns. And I'm like, brother, he had 3 steals, 2 blocks, and the highest plus minus. Again, I feel like what it is that you have a narrative of a player and you just are not impressed by him unless he's like doing crazy things, where a player that you like could do that. And then it's like, oh man, he was great tonight. Narratives. That's all I got to say about that. But so because he had to start tonight. And Zachary Risacher, 19 points tonight, 1 rebound, 4 assists, 7-14 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3. Listen, man, quit playing. He had that ankle injury that I think kind of changed how the season was going after that first half against Toronto in the first game. But I think he's really kind of stepped it up the last 3 games. Last 3 games, he's averaging 19 points in 27 minutes. So he's really, and that's really kind of what Risacher's been really good at, is that he doesn't play, I guess, as many minutes as people want him to play. But then at the same time, he can give you like 18, 19, 20 in those minutes. And you're like, wow. And just that sample size, he's done a really good job of just giving them something offensively. And I mean, like I've said, my theory continues to be true. If Dyson and Zach both play well, Hawks win. When one or both don't, they lose. That theory remains true tonight. Toronto, Dyson did not play well. You saw what happened. Like I've said, without Trae Young, they have to win a certain way, and those two have to be part of that formula for them to win games. And they both got good performances from both of them tonight. So, but the good stuff from Risacher, like I said, really kind of ramping it back up and playing some really good basketball for the Hawks right now. And I think the Hawks have also at times he's done a good job cutting, getting open when play breaks down, but also I think sometimes the Hawks have been able to run some things for him to also get him comfortable and get him more into the motion, into the action. Like I said, he's a Newell, 17 points, 5 rebounds tonight. It's funny. I characterized all my bigs on the Hawks before. I said Jalen's like the all-around big, like can kind of do everything. Obviously, you want more from him defensively, but can score, can pass, can rebound, can just do everything. Porzingis is the offensive big, like can shoot from distance, post you up, like just all over the place. Then he's 7'3", so he's just really tall. Gueye is like the super athletic defensive big, can guard players on the wing, block shots, improving his 3-point shot so he can hit threes. Onyeka Okongwu is like I don't want to say call him the Mighty Mouse, but like a guy who maybe doesn't have the height, but physical, will bang. I'm saying you look up, he'll have like 14 and 8. Like, just he does a lot of dirty work, really underrated passer. There were multiple times tonight against the Lakers where he would get assists just off of the guys cutting and the Okongwu being able to find him and being a really good passer. And that's a very underrated skill that he has. And just doing a lot of the other things that maybe people don't appreciate as much, and as long as improving his 3-point shot. And then, Newell is the energy big. He comes into the game, a lot of energy. He has been really, really good for them when he has had to play. His 3-point shot has been better than what people thought and expected, even me. And then he only had 5 boards tonight, but you could just see he had 4 steals a block. Like, obviously for him, he's young, so you just want him to improve defensively, and I think that will come with time with him. But I mean, he's the energy big. He just brings in a different energy when he comes into the game. And sometimes I think some people watch the Hawks and think that's what they need is an energy big. But like I said, you have 5 bigs. Not all of them can get playing time. But at the same time, you don't have to rush guys back because we got Newell ready to go when needed. So really good stuff. Krejci, like I said, 17 points, 6-14 from the field. Only hit 2 threes tonight. Assist. Like I said, he stepped up big time for them tonight. They needed that bench production from him when he did that. And then I think Caleb Houston and his minutes look good tonight. Did a good job defensively, hit a 3. Like he did good. I was thoroughly pleased with what I saw from him tonight. He was a guy that when we brought him in, people wondered if he would be in the rotation when we initially signed him. Wasn't. He's at the end of the bench. But again, guy who was in Orlando's rotation last year, like a guy who can play. And like I said, it's very important just to have depth. It's very important just to have that depth on your roster. to know if we need to go to a guy, we know he can play, he can produce, and he's a shooter. So, like, you know what Quinn's going to want from him is to shoot and be able to, you know, create spacing within the offense. So those are the player performances tonight from the Atlanta Hawks in their win over the Los Angeles Lakers. But I do want to mention the Toronto game real quick and just the offense because, you know, I think people, you know, again, you know, you have that narrative, oh, we're better without Trae, whatever, or what people call him on social now, the dictator. But I think that Toronto game kind of really showed people, again, the holes we have without Trae. I think so many people, I think y'all have seen this team struggle defensively for years. And y'all have looked at Trae and said he's not a good defender and he's the core reason why our defense is bad. But if you really know ball, you know it's not just Trae. It's a multitude of things. Like the Hawks have to build a certain thing around him for the defense to be good. And they haven't been able to have that because of injuries, personnel and injuries. And so I think the thing is that anytime we have a good defense, we're just like, all right, well, we're better without Trae. But they underestimate the impact to the offense. And somebody was like, well, we can just get a floor general. It's not just about passing. Because I think sometimes it's like, well, if we need a passer, we can find it. It's about offense sometimes. It's like what Kevin Durant said. You got to make, he said, yeah, y'all say defense with championships, but you got to make buckets too. You can defend all you want. If you can't score, you're going to lose to a team that got bucket getters. At the end of the day, great offense beats a great defense. So, like, you got to have a guy who can get you a bucket. And I think we've seen in these games, the Hawks have to score a certain type of way, which is good for like the first 1 to 3 quarters. But then that fourth quarter, when stuff gets tighter, the game slows down. It gets a little bit more like you really got to kind of have a guy to kind of take you home. They don't really have that right now without Trae. And Trae is supposed to be that guy. Trae has been here for years. Y'all have seen the performances he's had. You've seen the clutchness. You've seen him go get a bucket. Like, we've seen this. And so that's what the Hawks need. They need that offensive punch. Plus, he'll help in the half court and other things when they get bogged down offensively because he has so much gravity as an offensive player. Teams kind of gravitate to him when he has the ball in his hands, which then is where he takes advantage, finds other guys. Or, you know, if maybe they're running particular plays and sets, he can maybe take advantage of their over-aggressiveness and lead to some baskets for him. But I think it's just that game was a good reminder of, you know, and I know people are going to look at the lineup Quinn put on the floor and said, oh, my God, it was a bad lineup. That's what cost us the game. But a lot of guys did not have good offensive games last night that were a part of the important unit for them, the starters. A lot of guys didn't have great games. Kristaps or Kongwu didn't have good games offensively. Dyson did not. Like, actually, I might be wrong about that. But let me actually see real quick. I might be wrong about that. I might be getting the wrong player mixed up. Yeah, Dyson didn't have a good game offensively. And so, you know, what Trae does is that, like, think about it. There's a reason why I've pointed out on multiple occasions that Dyson and Zach have to be good because you lost 25 points, let's say, with Trae. Somebody got to make that up. Somebody got to. And I said that Dyson and Zach's numbers combined could probably make that up, but they both have to play well. At the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do with these games is that I think what you've seen is the Hawks have been better defensively, so they're able to play well enough defensively to get themselves in games. But remember, they didn't score 100 points in the last game. They scored 97. And 97 in today's NBA is looked at as a very bad number. Like, back in 2004, that was considered a good number. That was like, all right, you're in the middle of the pack. Now, 97, that's like worse in the league. And so it's just a reminder that, like, there's so many things that have to come into place, the meshing of the roster, guys getting healthy, where you try to find the team. What you try to do with every NBA team is try to find really good offense and really good defense. You can't just have one. You have to have both if you're going to win a championship and make runs. And so I think sometimes it's just reminding Hawks fans, like, hey, I get we're better defensively, but where's the offense at? You know? And the Hawks are going to have to, you know, they built this team to have Trae Young. So, like, they clearly are saying we have more defenders. We have guys who can defend. And then we have Trae Young with that offensive punch and his ability to help everybody else's offensive punch with his playmaking. And if I say that out loud, you would think should be a pretty good team. And that's what the Hawks hope they're going to end up becoming this year. So, we're going to have games where we play well, but there's going to be games where they're going to be slogged down offensively. And that's why I said biggest thing for them, just stay competitive, stay around 500 and wait for Trae to get back and then try to stay healthy after that and then see what the team can be. So that's kind of all I want to say about that, really, from that perspective. But I think that's about it for me, guys. If you would like to enjoy this podcast, definitely subscribe, like the video, leave a comment down below about anything we discuss. Audio listeners, leave 5 stars for the pod or leave a comment as well. Give a video or audio a thumbs up, anything of that nature. Follow me on Twitter at Bryce_2K as well. If you want to talk to me, interact with me over there on the pod or on the Twitter. And yeah, so like I said, Hawks get a very impressive team win, shorthanded over the Los Angeles Lakers, 122-102. Mo Gueye is the star of the night. Azanul is the second star of the night. A lot of guys stepped up. They did what they need to do. Now they're going to go on their West Coast road trip. They played the Clippers first, then the Kings, then the Jazz, and then the Suns. So if you're the Hawks, you're probably just wanting to get out of this at least 2-2. You could go 3-1. I mean, I think a lot of people are probably think you're losing to the Clippers, especially if they get Kawhi back. And then you can beat the Kings, you can beat the Jazz, and you can beat the Suns. But at the same time, you don't have Trae Young. So, you just got to be able to kind of go with what you've been able to do, play good defense, try to be efficient on offense, and then see if you can get back against the Pistons, maybe with an over 500 record. And, because as we get towards the end of the month, I would assume Trae Young going to get reevaluated the first week of December. So maybe you get him back during that stretch of the season. So we'll have to see. But like I said, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in for another Bleeding Hawks. It's your boy, Rice Lewis. See you next time.